Okay, sir. Hello everyone, myself Anamika and I'm a student in India and doing MSc Microbiology. Today I'm going to present a topic that is food production in space through microbes. And why it is necessary? Because for deep space mission it is very necessary to shift our attention toward how we can make food during the path. So this is the table of the content that is I'm going to cover. The first one is microbes under gravity and radiation, how they are going to react in gravity. And the second one I'm going to talk about the bacteria which can be used in this process. And the third one, other microbes which are used in this. And I'm going to talk about the sustainable approaches we can have in this. So these are the two methodology on which I have worked. The first one is emerging HOB technology and second one is how can we convert the food waste of astronaut into food or we can get resources for it such as nutrients, nitrogen, calcium, whatever we need in space. Now I'm going to, before starting the presentation, I'm going to take a brief view about how microbes react under gravity and radiation. So effect of gravity on microbes. Uh, Gravity affect microbes in four ways. First one is they do mutation, and the second they change their gene expression, and third they affect their reproducing capability, and fourth one is their effect on growth kinetics. So as we all know that microgravity is a condition where the physical force of gravity is reduced and often referred to weightlessness. And the microbial adaptation to environment stimuli is essential for survival. While several of these stimuli have been studied in detail, and the study have demonstrated an important role for a novel environment parameter in which microgravity and a low fluid shear dynamics associated with microgravity. Microbial existence and survival require the ability to sense and respond to environment change, including change in physical forces. And this is because microbes highly invade an amazingly diverse range of ecological niche, that is from the Antarctica to space. And we and therefore must constantly adapt to a wide variety of changing environment conditions like pH, nutrient availability, oxygen level, and osmotic pressure. And moreover, since microbiology represents a profound change in physical forces encountered by cells, the use of microbes in this study may provide clue to the underlying mechanism responsible for the physiological adaptation that human experience in space. Whether we are considering the true weightlessness of the deep space or the microgravity observed in low Earth field. And the next one, how we can monitor the effect of gravity on growth kinetics. And the monitoring the growth kinetics of bacteria under different conditions can reveal difference in the way in which the cell responds to the growth signal present in each environment. Well, when the effect of LSMGG, that is low shear model gravity, on the growth kinetics of Salmonella in broad culture were recently examined, and what they found that the bacteria, the condition has shortened the generation time of Acentrica. And the next one is microbial mechanism of response to space radiation. As the space radiation is one of the most harmful aspect of the space, and how microbe react in this case. The space radiation interacts with their DNA and they modify their genetic code. And but there are several radiation resistant organisms which can experience various genomic damage, but still they can survive. And that is Shellena onidus, Rhodospirillum ruverum, and Deinococcus radiodurans. And this can be used for protecting the human from space radiation. Next one is hydrogen oxidation bacteria, and this bacteria is basically used to generate oxygen and food for space mission, and can be used and can be a very effective way to produce food without so much resources. And here is the mechanism in which that bacteria use hydrogen as an electron donor and provide energy and oxygen. So, many organisms are capable of using hydrogen as a source of energy, while there are several mechanisms of anaerobic hydrogen oxidation. And hydrogen can also be used as an energy source aerobically. In this organism, hydrogen is oxidized by membrane bound hydrogenase, as you see in the figure, that is H2AS. And causing proton pumping by electron transfer to various quinine and cytochromes. In many organisms, a second cytoplasmic hydrogenase is used to generate reducing power in the form of NADH, which is subsequently used to fix carbon dioxide by the Calvin cycle. And the hydrogen oxidation bacteria such as Cuprivedius nectar often invite oxyanaerobic interference in nature to take advantage of hydrogen produced by anaerobic fermented organism. And the next one is the study that was done by NASA on hydrogen oxidation bacteria, and this study actually compared the cost of current space food alternative, that is we have dry package and single cell protein, to the cost of producing single cell protein from hydrogen using electrolysis. The cost to transport a payload, that is food, is proportional to the mass of that payload, and the fuel required increase exponentially with the velocity reached. Therefore, less mass launch means less cost for the mission, and this project aimed for the production of food for deep space and lunar exploration and increase the viable time in space through providing effectively produced food. And the food supplied to International Space Station in low Earth orbit every 90 days or approximately 4 times per year. And this resupply mission could be significantly reduced by using a this mechanism. And this is the equation we can see which is used to find the equivalent system mass, and the essential parameter in this are mass, power, cooling, crew time, and the ECM of a system is the sum of the mass equivalence of these parameters. And the and the if it I talk about the setup, how we can set up this, we need tank, fluid, microbial broth, media, electrolyzers, centrifuge, dryer, pump pipe, and etc. By combining the mass of the setup would be approximately a factor of 3 heavier than the mass of HOB fluid, and the mass of the microalgae setup was calculated by adding 2 times the mass of HOB fluid to the mass of the photobioreactor. And microbial energy efficiency. The energy efficiency of HOB, more specifically Cupria vitis nectar, was estimated by considering the electricity consumption of 5 steps involved in this process: water electrolysis, CO2 capture, HOB fermentation, centrifugation, and spray drying. And the next one is a comparison which was done. This is a comparison between hydrogen oxidation bacteria and microalgae on the basis of the factor that is given below, that is volumetric productivity, energy density, bioreactor volume, setup mass, electrical efficiency to dry food, chemical energy requirement of food, required power for product. And in this we can see the efficiency of hydrogen oxidation bacteria is much greater than microalgae. And this is the graph which is showing the different characteristics of microalgae, prepackaged food, and HOB on the basis of pressurized volume and power, apparent mass, and heat rejection. And out of this, HOB has lowest of them, and that make it it is an efficient way of food production in space. And the next one is microbes' role in food that scientists are still using. They are Arthrospira plantainus and cholera. Arthrospirus plantainus and cholera belong to cyanobacteria, and its other name is spirulina. And in this figure, you can see these two products which are basically used by uh, astronaut food missions. And the next one is the sustainable approaches, and this one is my favorite, because in this way what we can do, we can use the micro waste of astronaut, and then we using certain bacteria we can convert that into sustainable products. And in this we use three bacteria, that is Methylococcus capsulatus, which is used in anaerobic digestion and waste management, Helmonus desidera, and Thermus aquatics. And the characteristic of Thermus aquatics is it is able to survive under high temperature or unfavorable condition. And as we all know that in deep space mission, feeding astronaut is one of the major logistical problem space agency could face. And but there is a solution that we can convert human waste into food. Um, in this you can see here is the apertures which is used, and it is possible to break down solid and liquid human waste and convert it into an edible form by using a series of microbial reactors. So, according to researchers, this can be done by simultaneously minimize the danger of pathogenic contamination. That is one of the biggest problem. Unlike present day space missions that are of relatively short duration, future space Voyager are going to be much longer. And for instance, mission to Mars or beyond are projected to take years, and making food making it is difficult to bring enough food from Earth, while also increase the mass and the fuel cost of the spacecraft. Although experiments are going on the International Space Station to grow vegetables on route by using hydroponic or other method, but it is considered to be an energy and water intensive process. So researchers shifted their focus on how to use microbes in biological reactor to turn waste into food in an easier and faster way. So for testing their idea, what they do, they use an artificial solid and liquid waste that commonly used to treat waste management system, and they place the waste in the enclosed cylindrical system. It is given here, and they placed here, and in which it come into contact with the microbes, uh, microbes, metallococcus, capsulate, etc. And microbes then broke down the waste using anaerobic digestion. In this research, it was found that the methane produced during the anaerobic digestion of human waste could be used to grow a different microbe, that is metallococcus capsulae, which is used in animal feed today. But in the study, the researcher conclude that such microbial growth could be used to produce a nutritious food containing 52% protein and 36% fat for deep space traveler. Now let's imagine if someone were to find two in our system, so that you can get 85% of carbon and nitrogen back from the waste into protein without having to use hydroponics or artificial life. That would be a fantastic development for deep space travel. And to avoid the and the one more most important thing is how we can avoid the pathogen. So to avoid the danger of pathogen getting into mix, the researchers study to grow microbes in either an alkaline environment or a high heat environment. And the next is, what are the challenges that will be faced while during the journey to Mars? The first one is distance, and the second one is environment of the Mars would not be suitable for human settlement. Anticipated health challenges. Yes, the microbiome of the human get changed in space because of the unfavorable condition, and the limited resources and transportation of necessary equipment. So this is the conclusion is here that we can use human waste, and the human waste may one day be a valuable resources for astronaut on deep space mission by minimizing the cost of the fuel and using the hydroponics method, which would be a extensive process. And here are the references which I used, and I like to thank you. Thanks everyone for listening and giving me an opportunity to discuss my research with you all. Thank you.